Good morning. I'm John Hagelin, president of MIU, and welcome to this webinar sharing news and achievements of MIU, which are right now quite extraordinary, I think. And today's news and achievements is dedicated entirely to MIU's incredibly precious donors and benefactors that have made all this possible. And you're going to see some amazing things, I think, today, all of which you've made possible, for which we at the university, faculty, staff, students, trustees, are all immensely grateful. I think the first news, basically, to share is the extraordinary growth of the university. I'm assuming you can see these PowerPoints as I bring them up. Is that the case? Maybe not at the moment. Let's see if we can fix that. Give us a second. Well, while I am waiting, on my right, which we'll be introducing in a moment, it's our Provost Scott Harriott, who is one of the many great heroes of our university, perhaps I should say really one of the greatest heroes of the university, who has been at the core of achieving so much of what we have achieved this year. And on my left side is Roxana Madeiros, who is just an extraordinary talent and is really the driving force, together with her incredible team, behind the Bachelor of Arts in Ayurveda Wellness, and now our brand new degree in yoga, Maharshi Yoga, which we'll talk about as well. I'm going to end my PowerPoint and restart it at the request of our team, and let's try that. You want me to close it or just restart?
Just exit, restart the
I've done so. Is that working?
If you can take it out and put it back.
All right, I'll try this. Won't take, I hope, but a second. It's going to be worth it because the pictures are worth seeing. So let's see. I just unplugged it and replugged it. What I could do is, again, restart the PowerPoint, perhaps. Something just popped up on your screen on the left. We have it, and you're getting both. We had it for a moment. While we're waiting, why don't you, Roxana, take a moment to introduce yourself a little bit and some of the amazing news of the Department of Maharshi Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine, and also our Bachelor of Arts in Ayurveda Wellness, if you could.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for inviting me, President Hagelin, to come and join you all this morning. It's so exciting for me to be here. I feel really honored to be part of a department that is really trying to elevate Maharshi's direction to create a disease-free society, and through the ability to learn and grow in my studies in Ayurvedic practice here at MIU. I really feel that our team here, Provost Scott, who's been extremely supportive of our growth and my growth, even on a personal level, to expand this program. It's been such a wonderful opportunity to be a part of this family, of this community of MIU. I started off with working in the master's program in Ayurveda, which while I was there had started growing exponentially, and the undergraduate in Ayurveda had been going all along, and then it was born into the online realm. And I took that position as program director last year, and this year we have seen exponential growth in the Ayurveda program and a lot of success, and our students, first batch of students will graduate this winter, so that's really exciting. And with their graduation, we also have to look forward to much more interest in this particular program. There are a lot of up-and-coming students who we're getting to meet with on a regular basis who are highly interested in joining the community of MIU. And I believe that a lot of that is attributed to our dedication and focus of the team that is working in this undergraduate program to create a great deal of success, to enliven the spirit of Ayurveda and all that we've learned. Our whole team has been able to work under the direction of Vaidya Manohar Palakirti, who many of you know is such an influential and dedicated expert in Ayurvedic medicine and in diagnostics of Ayurveda. So I feel that all of us have really benefited from his guidance and tutelage in Ayurvedic medicine. And now we are starting a specialization or track or whatever anyone would like to call that in Maharshi Yoga Asana teacher training, which we will align with Yoga Alliance, which is extremely exciting. So our graduates will really be just so full of knowledge of Maharshi's inspiration, his vision, and I'm so looking forward to being a part of that in whatever capacity.
Super, super. And I think we have, and we'll touch on some of those amazing developments in just a few minutes. I think we have our screen back, and I think we have our pictures back. I hope that's true out there in audience land. So again, what we're going to see today is, as you'll see, and I think you'll be quite struck at the progress of the university, and you'll also see how much it has been fueled by the donors and benefactors, of which many, many of you are. So again, the first major piece of news is the extraordinary growth of our university and fulfillment of many of our dreams, at least the beginnings of the fulfillment of many of our dreams. Right now, at this moment, we have 2,281 students. That is by far an all-time high for our university. These students break down as being slightly more than half online, and yet the on-campus community is growing as well. So with the on-campus community growing as well, and now swamped by online education, you can get a sense for the size of the growth we have. That growth is shown at least this year compared to last year here in this chart. These are our major online programs. We will soon have all of our programs available online. But the big ones at this moment are Maharshi Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine. That's a Master of Science degree in Maharshi Ayurveda. And that has grown, it's 161% right now of what it was last year. The Bachelor of Arts, the undergraduate version, the Bachelor of Arts in Ayurvedic Wellness is up by 84% over just last year to 195 students currently. The Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Applied Arts and Sciences is our generic, you could say, undergraduate major. It's the liberal arts major, customizable to the student. That has more than doubled since last year. And very heartening, Consciousness and Human Potential, which is our undergraduate Maharshi Vedic Science major, has also well more than doubled since last year. And this is amazing. It's a fabulous trend. All of these big programs, especially the first and the second and the last, are entirely focused on Maharshi's unique knowledge, his knowledge of consciousness, his technologies for the development of consciousness, the study and growth towards enlightenment. That is becoming very large. And the Bachelor of Arts in Ayurveda Wellness, this is Maharshi Ayurveda, and the Master of Science in Maharshi Ayurveda are just enormous and growing exponentially. So Maharshi's biggest programs, our most popular programs, I should say, at the university, are uniquely Maharshi's knowledge. The substantial majority of all of our students are coming here to study what Maharshi has to offer. And that's arriving as non-meditators. Even as non-meditators, they know this is what it is we want to specialize in. So that's pretty amazing. We are getting what we would like to call the right students. We had some times in the past where we weren't always sure that we were getting absolutely the right students. We are getting absolutely the right students. This other chart shows the breakdown of our student body. Compro is still a juggernaut, and in fact, it is growing faster than it has ever grown before. But now, outstripping Compro are our standard program students in our other Bachelor of Arts and Master of Science programs, and we have PhD programs on top of that. So this is wonderful that Compro is growing, and maybe even more wonderful that our other programs are growing even faster. So that's right now. These are the numbers today. But what about next fall? What's coming? Well, next fall, this pace of growth is, I was going to say continuing, but no, it's accelerating. If you look, for example, at next fall, compared to the students who arrived last fall, our online students are up almost 100%. Our total undergraduate programs, that's online and on campus, are up almost 60%. So rate of growth is huge. Our master's programs are also up 35%. These are projected next year versus what we saw last year. And the international applications are also up close to 100% over last year. So the trends for the fall are fantastic. Our challenge we'll see is housing everybody, and we'll return to that a little bit later. We've had some major academic milestones this year. We have really of just fundamental importance is what we call our digital transformation, which is designed to keep pace with a rapid online growth that we're experiencing, to handle that market, to serve them well. This is supported by a $1.2 million pledge by a group of visionary trustees. Marvelous, marvelous development. It involves, for example, upgrading our IT infrastructure and network capacity to handle the reach and the numbers, and with reliability and stability and security. It involves funding our distance education department and their production of state-of-the-art courseware through advanced technology and providing lots of guidance to the faculty. We have most of our students online, even again, though the on-campus population is also growing. We have to deliver to them the same experience we can deliver to our students here. And that takes, these days, a sophisticated, because the competition is fierce, it takes a sophisticated technology and training to really deliver a first-class product. And at the moment, we're involved with bringing hundreds, or at least 150 planned right now, of our courses online for online delivery. And Scott Harriet, our provost, is working most intimately with this project and spearheading this and rolling across the entire faculty and curriculum of the university. I'd like to introduce Scott for his reflections.
Thank you very much, President Hagelin. This digital transformation project is the core of the strategy of the university for the next 2 to 3 years. It is timely. It's something that we had already begun even 2 to 3 years ago. The COVID crisis in the United States has certainly made everyone aware of how important it is to use technological means of communication. Universities all around the country have had to adapt their residential programs to hybrid or online delivery of education. MIU was already working down that road. We had already been building up our distance ed department, already started the online masters in Maharishi Ayurveda, already started the bachelor's program, the computer science program. Half of the students were already in their online education phase when they go out and take jobs to work for a couple of years and complete their degrees. We already had experience with online education, but it hadn't pervaded the university. And so COVID came along and forced us to accelerate our progress in online delivery of education. And we have to thank the visionary foresight, the strategic insight of this group of trustees that conceived of the whole digital transformation that the university is going through, gave a name to this and said, how can we help you accelerate this? The 1.2 million that we're getting is part of a larger donation that includes campus infrastructure. So you'll see as a theme in today's presentations that we are strengthening the core of the Fairfield campus as well as expanding outside. So it's both inner and outer. It's the holistic expansion of the university that we're speaking of here. But digital transformation is a complex task. It involves instruction, it involves technology, it involves the infrastructure of the university, training and development of our faculty in techniques of online education. We had a few core experts. Now everyone on the faculty is having to become an expert in this. It takes $1 million to really make a transition like that happen and stick. And I cannot say enough to this anonymous group of trustees who have made this possible. It was clearly strategic thinking, highly strategic thinking on the part of our trustees to give a boost to this project. 150 courses being put online in the next year and a half. That's an extraordinary effort. And it's funded because, you know, one can always ask our faculty to volunteer a little more time to do a little more work. But when we say, okay, we'll give you some summer money to develop these courses, then people's ears perk up and action starts to happen. So this is an extraordinary development in the university. And as we can see from the numbers that President Hagelin just presented, it has already enabled a fantastic growth in the enrollment of the university. I have always personally seen 2000 as the first of our milestones that we really needed to achieve in order to begin to have long-term financial stability for the university. It's such a pleasure to see we're already higher than 2,200 and looking at extensive growth for next year. So President Hagelin, this is really an extraordinary development that we've got. And again, the forward-looking strategic thinking of the trustees has been absolutely essential to this.
Thanks, Scott, as has Scott Harriet. And I must say, the whole team, our faculty, policies, academic planning council, academic council, faculty senate, everyone really is involved in this. It's a university-wide transformation. And the interesting thing is, yes, our on-campus students are growing, and they're incredible. And I always wondered, well, how effectively could you deliver Maharshi's knowledge and the experience of the transcendent and going deep into experiences from a distance? And that was a little bit of a hesitation, but we really had to do it because, especially during COVID, our students were demanding it. It was stay home or not at all. And what's so amazing about these online students is they are every bit as excited about what they're learning as the students here. And I teach twice a year, and I am teaching online and also on campus. And there's no difference between those students. They're equally dedicated. And the amazing thing about these students, I teach physics, of course, physics and consciousness. And these students are good at the physics. They're doing perfectly well there. But when it comes to the consciousness, they're on fire. That's what they really came here for. And once they hear Maharshi's knowledge, taste the experience of being, and then start to learn about higher states of consciousness, they basically are kind of reborn in some new whole path of exploration. So it's really, really fun. It's just as much fun to teach, I'd say almost as fun to teach online as on campus. There's something about having the students right in front of you that is still more exhilarating perhaps, but the connection at a distance is really strong. Next big thing, the explosion of our Ayurvedic courses, Maharshi Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine, have forced us basically to open up a branch campus a teaching and research clinic in Los Angeles. And due to an extraordinary gift by our very dear honorary doctoral recipients, Dr. Naveen and Pratima Doshi, they donated a 2-story, 18-unit apartment building right in the very heart of LA. And in that building now resides what is called the Naveen and Pratima Doshi Center for Integrative Medicine, serving the population of Los Angeles. But what it is, it's a clinic, of course, providing Maharshi Ayurveda and modern medical treatment, diagnosis, and advice. It is a Vaidya, world-class Vaidya, and an absolutely top LA doctor working full-time together to provide an integrative medical experience. So people can come and they can hear about the Ayurvedic, very deep diagnosis and recommendations for lifestyle recommendation, for panchakarma, for herbal, and so forth. And the medical doctor can confirm and corroborate the diagnosis and at his own modern medical points of view, even providing, ordering tests, blood tests, and so forth to be sure that the person is well, and if they're not well, to get the treatment they need. So this is for providing these consultations, these integrative medical consultations, but it's primarily for our university an opportunity for students to go there, our online students especially, not the ones that are already here, but the ones who are out there in the field to easily travel to Los Angeles, live at this building, and get direct training, hands-on training in Ayurvedic and integrative medicine. That is part of their Bachelor of Arts and Master of Science education in Maharshi Ayurveda and integrative medicine. And that hands-on part is absolutely critical to the success of the program. It's what really gives them their clinical acumen, their capability. So right now, spearheading this from the modern medical side is renowned cardiologist John Zamora. He's the medical director of that clinic. And our highly renowned Vaidya, Dr. Manohar, will be, as soon as he returns from India, the resident Vaidya, the principal clinical Vaidya of that thing. And anyway, we had a grand time out there a couple of weeks ago on Akshaya Tritiya, May 15th, the day of lasting achievements. We had a gala inauguration that spanned both morning and evening. The evening celebration took place at a large cultural facility, which was in fact an Indian temple, and it was a packed auditorium. And here are some of the people that were, of course, involved in that inaugural celebration that evening. Here is Dr. and Mrs. Pratima Naveen and Pratima Doshi. After they have spoken, this is Dr. Doshi delivering an incredibly inspiring, moving address. This is our own Dr. Jerry Gear presenting Dr. Doshi's new book called Saving Ourselves, a new model for individual and social transformation, all about the development of higher consciousness. And really capping that evening was a wonderful experience where MIU alumnus Tara DeSantis and Dr. Doshi's own granddaughter, Manali McCarthy, performed a duo, a musical rendition of an incredible poem that Dr. Doshi himself had written, and that was set to music by Tara, who is a very well-liked, well-regarded young artist. So it was an absolutely fabulous evening. The morning was incredible. I hope some of you got to see that. That whole time in LA was certainly an intense few days. I have to thank Scott and Vicky again, our advanced troops, for going out there and readying the building, setting up the clinic, and many others were involved with that, David Lansdorf, and the whole incredible team. Our Malvim and Bao team at the university they're just incredible. As we certainly abided by the Vedic prescription to be together and to eat a whole lot together, which we certainly did while we were out there. Brand new programs this year. This year we began a Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing, very popular. My own son is in it and loving it. or actually he's at the undergraduate level of it, but is hoping to move on next year to the graduate level. We have a new Master of Arts in Leadership and Workplace Conflict Resolution. That is Scott and Vicky, his wife, had a lot to do with that, I take it. And then this is brand new, last year or so, the Master of Science in Aromatherapy. And that's going to be big. It's already big from the beginning by MIU standards, but it is poised to grow huge. Now, next year, next fall, months away, we've got some absolutely wonderful things beginning. The first of which is sure to be a blockbuster. It's going to be huge. That's the Bachelor of Arts in Yoga, Maharishi Yoga, with National Yoga Certification, Teacher Training Certification, to go with that. At this point, I would therefore like to introduce Roxana Medeiros again, who is really mainly spearheading this with several others. Just in terms of the potential, what do you think? We have these blockbusters already in aromatherapy, huge blockbusters in aromatherapy at the graduate and undergraduate level. What about a Bachelor of Yoga, or I think yoga and Ayurveda combined, I guess is what it
Correct.
is.
Yes, and thank you, Dr. Hagelin. I'm really excited to be involved in this project Dr. Keith Wallace really was inspired to put something together that would marry the sciences of yoga and Ayurveda, seeing how successful Ayurveda is. I think if we pause and think about how much COVID has affected lives and how much people really want to feel empowered about taking care of their own. Two sciences, these disciplines, being able to be that helping hand to people who really want to take the initiative in their own health and well-being or the health and well-being of their community, which I think is really rich. And they dovetail so well together that this is going to be a program where the students will be learning not just yoga asanas and becoming teacher trained to become teachers and get the credentials to become yoga asana teachers, but they'll be learning Maharishi's technologies of Vedic science and coupling that with the really core and fundamental courses that are in our BA Ayurveda Wellness program already. So these students who join this program will be really poised not only to become teachers at studios, but also have that component to educate the community of yoga students that they'll be teaching to learn about the fundamentals of Ayurveda. This is really common in so many yoga studios where they'll have a teacher training there. And the Ayurvedic component that they try to weave in is really lacking the depth that we have to offer here at Maharishi University, because we have the consciousness-based aspect woven in to every one of the courses that really enlivens one's innate intelligence and also the way of which to see ourselves as a reflection of nature. So I think through bringing these two concepts together, there will be a lot of unification between mind and body, and then an explosion of a beautiful consciousness to be witnessed by the teachers and by the students alike.
Beautiful, fantastic. I mean, think of it. Ours will be one of a very few accredited, college-accredited yoga training programs, which makes it unique and which certainly will draw a lot of people just because yoga is so popular. But more than that, this is not just yoga in the sense of yoga asanas. When you come to Maharishi's University, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's university founded by the greatest yoga in recent history, maybe ever, you're not just learning yoga asanas. You're learning all 8 limbs of yoga. You're learning and gaining experience in transcending, in dharan, dhyan, samadhi, pranayama also. That's 5 of the 8 limbs right there. You're masters in. And that's real masters of direct experience, of higher consciousness. experience of samadhi. So what you're getting here when you're majoring in Maharishi Yoga is incredibly rich. And even not only just that, but the Ayurveda component is rich as well. So you really graduate with a complete set of asanas to enlighten and also improve the health of any human being. It's amazing. Touching very quickly, also we're introducing next year a Master of Science in Regenerative Agriculture. We were the first university on the planet, as far as we know, certainly in the country, to offer a degree in regenerative organic agriculture. And now what we're doing is taking it to the Master of Science level, a much more rigorous and more practical degree. If you want to practice agriculture, you really need this more advanced knowledge. And also this offers a short route. Instead of a 4-year undergraduate degree, you could take somebody who has a background in farming, maybe a farmer, and in a year and a half, get them a Master of Science in agriculture, in regenerative organic agriculture, and really put them in a position to do something great. So we're very excited about that. Next is a Master of Fine Arts in Art, an MFA. It's a low residency program. It is mainly online, but they come here for work and workshop or intensives, they call them, twice a year. It's a very exciting program. And that program is being powerfully bolstered by a grant from the Wege Foundation, which is providing a Wege Fellowship, which means scholarship support for people who'd like to come and get their degree, their Master of Fine Arts, and also Master of Arts at MIU. And this beautiful poster, which you're seeing here in small, was sent now to all the universities and colleges across the United States that offer an art program. They have an art undergraduate degree and is hanging in the walls all over the country right now, offering scholarship support for students across the country to come to MIU and to pursue their graduate education. This is very exciting. This is unusual. It's not so easy to get scholarships in art at the graduate level, and to have a named fellowship like the Wege Fellowship is very prestigious indeed. So that's very exciting. Next is, starting next fall, are these exciting programs. These are the last that I will describe. This is our new Bachelor of Arts in Enlightened Leadership and Master of Arts in Enlightenment and Leadership. These programs are for people who really want to come to MIU to become enlightened leaders, including people who'd like to become leaders of the national organizations that teach TM in their countries all over the world. They want to go to teacher training. So this program will include TM teacher training. It'll include all the leadership skills you need to be a successful leader. Also special training for what you need to have to be a really successful TM teacher. And so people will be coming, they'll all learn the cities if they haven't learned them already. They'll live in Vastu dormitories. They'll go very deeply into experiences. They will graduate as an undergraduate degree or a graduate degree in enlightenment and leadership. And they will be poised at that point to really go back and lead their countries or the United States as well. We do need a new generation of TM teachers that have real leadership potential. And one amazing piece of news, if you studied closely the progress of Maharishi Foundation USA, the progress of teaching TM in the United States, well, we're teaching a lot of people. Even at COVID, during COVID, we're teaching quite a few. Not quite back yet up to full pace, but still quite a few. But the issue is, what about 5 years from now, or 10? The number of people, young people who have gone to teacher training in these last 5 years has been a relative handful. What's amazing right now is, and by the way, most of those came through MIU. MIU has always been the feeder, the source of new teachers of Transcendental Meditation, so incredibly essential for the success and longevity of our teaching movement. So what's amazing now is that in a quick survey done of our current, MIU's current students, is 200 of them want to become teachers of transcendental meditation. And I do think by next fall, perhaps by late next fall, it might be 400. Well, that's more, that's amazing. That's more teachers that have been trained in probably 20 years, maybe even 30 years in the United States. So that's an incredible change. And I do think it's because the students who are coming to MIU now are coming for what? They're coming for Maharishi Ayurveda, Maharishi Vedic science. They're coming for Maharishi's knowledge, even though they're not typically meditators yet. When they get a taste of Maharishi's knowledge, they get very excited about it. When they're studying Maharishi Ayurveda, they realize that after 4 years of study, 3 years of graduate study, they will be able to recommend herbs, recommend lifestyle changes, perhaps recommend panchakarma, and that's all great. But the most powerful healer and the very core of Ayurveda is Maharishi Yoga, transcending. As Maharishi would say, the simplest form of the self, pure consciousness, is the key to perfect health. And there is no healer in the universe as powerful as transcending. And the students know that. They learn that right away as they enter our program in Ayurveda, and they think, well, gosh, I'm spending 3 years, 4 years to get a degree to practice Ayurveda. I should spend a couple of months to become a teacher of TM and be able to deliver the core of Ayurveda, the most powerful healing component of Ayurveda, which is transcending. So all of a sudden we have a new gateway to teachers of TM. I'm so happy about that. I can't tell you, as head of the Maharishi Foundation and overseeing teaching TM in the US, this is a godsend. It's a revolution, really. And the fact that we will have an abundance, maybe even more than we need, of transcendental meditation teachers in the very near future because of MIU makes me really happy and really proud. So anyway, this training course, the Enlightened Leadership programs at the undergraduate and graduate level, are designed to really train teachers and future leaders of the whole international TM organizations. Dr. Howard Settle and Dr. Alice Settle are really to thank for this idea of the Enlightened Leadership and Enlightenment and Leadership courses. They were the brainchild. It was Maharishi International University's joy, the faculty's joy, to put these wonderful programs together. And Dr. Settle in the process founded this new institute, this Institute of Permanent Peace, MIU's new Institute of Permanent Peace. And the goals of this institute are to engage our Fairfield Siddhas and inspire our Fairfield Siddhas again to increase their participation in the domes, to secure commitments and create a waiting list for more Siddhas across the country to move here and to live in subsidized Vastu housing that will be built by this institute, to recruit students worldwide for this Enlightened Leadership program and this graduate level Enlightenment and Leadership program, to raise the funds for permanent scholarships for all of these students, because foreign students don't qualify for U.S. federal financial aid. They need scholarship support typically. Part of this program that Dr. Settle has championed and that the university has taken on is to raise that scholarship money for these future leaders of TM. And then finally, to raise funds for the first phase at least, and eventually the whole reconstruction of Utopia Park to be a real Vastu Siddha community. Here's a quick picture of Utopia Park right now. Not entirely glorious, but it certainly has served its purpose very well. This is a bird's eye view of a newly designed Utopia Park consisting of these swaths of just beautiful Vastu homes. There's a picture on the top right of a Vastu triplex. Each of those 3 condominiums are for 2 people, but certainly could be a couple with some children. And these are all arrayed in these rows across the entire campus. And it's really high quality Vastu high quality living inspired by North Campus Village. And it's just a dream that this is going to happen. So those programs that I've mentioned for undergraduates and graduate future leaders of the TM movements nationwide are described here. You can find them online on the MIU website. There's the bachelor's degree, which has just wonderful features, absolutely fabulous features. It would be an ideal education for anybody who'd like to become a teacher of TM, and at the graduate level as well. Again, more information for that online. There's a timeline for this project. February of this year, which has passed, in March and April, now May. This is where we are on that timeline. We're rolling this out as fast as possible. Donor funds are going to be necessary to really make it happen. We have some initial donations, which are very deeply appreciated. We have a ways to go before we can break ground on the Utopia Park. So finally, with respect to this, as Howard himself loves to quote, this is an opportunity that we must seize upon to restore Fairfield and Maharshi Vedic City and MIU as a powerful center for coherence for the entire country and the entire world. And we can do that. We've done that. For years we had that, and it changed the world. Maharshi praised those individuals who have supported his technologies for raising collective consciousness, calling them the founders of world peace, changing the course of time for the whole world, changing the destiny of all mankind. And he added a big, huge thing. So we're very excited about this project. We're very excited about the transformation of the campus into an Utopia Park, into a glorious Vastu community for all those who are currently there, and many more. This will expand the number of people who can live on our campus and expand the number of people in the domes. Okay, another great thing this year you've heard about, I hope. I'll show a few pictures because it's incredible and getting more so. That is the inauguration of the Wege Center for the Arts. This is funded by a series of grants from Chris and Laura Wege and the Wege Foundation, which is based in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It has led to dramatic renovations inside and out of what used to be the old student union. Emphasis on old. But if you looked at it now, it's fabulous. This is the art showcase on the western side of that building. This is just outside the art showcase looking in from the east. We have had exhibition after exhibition there, including a wonderful exhibition that is up now, which is the senior project or graduation project for our undergraduates and our graduates in the fine arts. And it's really fun. I'll tell you, for the students to have a place, a glorious place, to display their work, for people to enjoy, which is what artists really need and really want, is just incredible. That's today. Looking at what's going to be happening this summer, looking at the east face, the Royal Vastu entrance is incredible. This is not what it looks like today. In fact, I would have to honestly say, far from it. You can't even get up this hill today without ropes and pitons. But when this is finished, it's going to look absolutely just glorious. That sculpture in the middle is Rodin's sculpture called The Thinker. That is not part of our budget. We looked into it, but you'd have to sell all of Jefferson County in order to afford it. But we'll do something, our artists will do something perhaps inspired by that, because I think it actually works very well there. On the west side of the building, it looks like this right now, except for the landscaping, and the landscaping is sorely missed, and that will be provided, and many other aspects. New parking lot, new theater, beautiful indoor theater. All of that stuff is in progress. It'll hopefully all be done by Labor Day, when all of you will be here for MIU's 50th Golden Jubilee anniversary. Much of this is funded by what is called the Capital Campaign. You know about it. Many of you have contributed to it. This year, thus far, that fund has raised approaching $1 million, And I say, and wow, because what that has accomplished and is accomplishing is, again, it's really, really huge. All these renovations and all these programs are being funded by the Capital Campaign. Not just the incredible art center, the pictures of which you just saw, but our expansion of our arts programs. And we've seen, I talked about the new MFA and the poster that is now posted all over the United States. Also the renovation of our field house. This is the field house as it currently stands. It is not as glorious as one would hope. But by the time, we hope, of the Golden Jubilee in September, it will look like this. This is the Andy Zhang Center field house now, and it's just a fabulous transformation inside and out. Part of that transformation is the new swimming pool. This is at the site of the current swimming pool, which is going to be completely redone. It will still be in progress while you come, hopefully many of you, for our Golden Jubilee. But soon after that, by the beginning of the fall at least, it will look like this. And that is a very, take my word for it, a very substantial change over the state of the pool and the dressing rooms right now. That's fabulous. Capital Campaign is funding faculty development, faculty research. This particular faculty member, Robert Schneider, responded to my request to the faculty to just share with us some of your main achievements of the year. And he sent this miniature book filled with just incredible publications and books that he has written and journal articles that he has written and other major developments, including the start of what's called a residency, a doctor's fellowship program where medical doctors will be coming here for advanced certification to become certified doctors in a new field of medical science, which is called integrative medicine. And we're going to be among the first in the country that offer doctors, training for doctors, so that they can become not gynecologists, not surgeons, but experts in integrative medicine. That's a tremendous achievement, and one of many. I won't show the achievements of all the faculty because we'll run out of time very quickly. But there are a few more things. Also, funded by this Capital Campaign, and again, the wonderful, I should say by the Capital Campaign, it's by you donors who have done all of this. We have faculty and staff apartment renovations. Some of these apartments really haven't been touched since Parsons' days. They really have not received any refurbishment for 50 years. And, you know, it shows. But these are being rebuilt. And my wife has a lot of responsibility for this in terms of, and the donors too. The donors have provided most of these furnishings, beautiful furnishings from homes that they're selling and are downsizing and for various reasons. The furnishings that you're seeing and even the flooring sometimes and the lamps and the pianos and all of this is being funded in a sense by donors, mostly by donated things. That's a fantastic change in the quality of life for many faculty and staff and new faculty and staff. We have to make room for new faculty and staff, and that's why these two frats, so to speak, as they're called, are largely unoccupied because they have been largely unoccupiable. But because our student body is growing fast, Compro also growing fast, we need more faculty and staff. So this is going to expand our faculty and staff and our ability, therefore, to take new students, which is critical to our expansion. Also, improvements to the domes and the air quality in the domes. And the last of these projects, not yet funded, we have a start, but the last of the big projects to make our entire campus as glorious as what you've seen so far is our library, which will have a whole new facade. It's a major project. We've only just started, and that's something that we'll be working on next year and next year. So, just a very, very quick 3-minute tour of other improvements to campus that have taken place this year and in prior years. Campus renovations include Hen Mansion is looking utterly spectacular. just utterly spectacular. Fantastic meeting place, fantastic place for development, fantastic place for culturing and courting prospective donors and so forth. Dalby Hall and the Argiro Center have received some very, very nice upgrades and improvements and new carpeting. The dining halls also look just absolutely magnificent. In addition to that, our guest and conference center, formerly called Frats 152 and 153, are just glorious. This is where our low residency students in screenwriting and so forth come, and they just have the most wonderful place to live and to work. All of the bedrooms in these buildings have their own bathrooms, nice bathrooms, beautiful new furnishings, as you can see here. That little vanity replaces a tiny sink that used to stick out of the wall. Of course, in the past, thanks to Jeffrey Abramson, as we all know, the Hildenbrandt was just marvelously renovated and updated, and the high-rises too. I just took a tour of the high-rises with Jeffrey a couple of weeks ago, and it just looks fantastic. Everett Day, the decorator designer, has just done an amazing job with these high-rises. And you can see, maybe you can't, but these are new windows, picture windows, which were so cloudy before that you couldn't see out of them. They look really glorious now. So those are high-rises, and I've talked about new frats for faculty and staff. These four, another major renovation project fueled by you donors, is taking place now. 4 new dormitories. I shouldn't say new. What should I call them? Partly unoccupied and partly unoccupiable dorms that were really not suitable for students are now being renovated very nicely. In a rush, because we will need at least one of these completed by August, another one by November, others by early next year. And they're very nice inside. These are large rooms that can be used both as a single, as you see here, and very comfortably as double rooms. These are beautiful rooms. There used to be 4 beds in these rooms when Parsons owned our campus. So 2 beds is luxury. And we're offering the double option. We hadn't in the past. We haven't had to. We had so much space and so few students, but now we have so many students, we're running out of space. We're offering a much discounted double option. We hope we have many takers because we will need the space. And finally, we have 4 new classrooms. This is one of those in progress in Verrill Hall to accommodate the many students, especially in Compro. And I don't want to, I'm just about to finish, but I don't want to neglect to mention, thanks again to our university's donors, we were able to purchase the wonderful Gate Ridge building, which is the new home, among other things, for our business department, our management department. And that's an amazing addition to the campus. It's an absolutely fantastic building, and I want to thank those donors and trustees who actually built that building years ago, and we're just so thrilled that it can be part of our university campus right now. And that's our solar mega ray in the background, which is poised for further expansion. Everywhere you look, it's just really glorious. Since I just mentioned the business department, there's so many incredibly great things going on. The business department just a few days ago sponsored a global conference, a Zoom conference with 1,100 people connected from 40 major cities all over the world. It's called the International Conference on Consciousness-Based Leadership and Management. And there is a market for consciousness and leadership and management. It's a sign of our times that was such a popular conference. That was really, really great news. More than 80 speakers over 3 days, mapping the path to a flourishing humanity. So let me end with some great news. There's been support of nature shining, smiling on our university in every direction, more than ever before. Who would have thought that the U.S. government would have stepped in with this very generous program for companies and universities that were hit by COVID and experienced some downsizing, as we did, for example, with Compro. We had to cancel last spring's entry. We had a markedly reduced August and November entry of this year. And that hurt. It hurt our resources a fair amount. And it also, of course, hurt our student numbers. And as a consequence, a lot of faculty, a number of faculty and staff across the university had to take partial furloughs, had to reduce their hours. In some cases, they had to take full furloughs. And the government provided support for those people. In the process, saved MIU a little over $670,000. That's just unemployment support. But there have been other grants from the government, and they've been really quite wonderful, the last of which has just arrived. The grants that go directly to support our university this year will amount to $1.396 million. That is manna from heaven, frankly, and that was just an absolute godsend. That and our donors got us through COVID in style, I would say. In addition, the government is helping students who've encountered hardships, financial hardships, for various reasons on account of COVID, and they are providing and have largely provided already $1.1+ million to our students for a grand total in support to the university and students of $2.5 million. I must say our development office is like the little engine that could, small but wonderful. They've done extremely well. This year, all told, and this doesn't include the government support, this is donor support, $8 million, almost $8.7 million. That is by far an historic number for the university. That includes $2.5 million donation of the building in Los Angeles, but even without that, that is an historic number. Endowment reserves. We've been on a long 2-year endowment reserve fund campaign. What is it? Its endowment means it's permanent. It will support the university forever. It'll constantly generate income to help fund the university and our operations. But unlike an endowment typically, endowment reserves is a portion of our endowment, a portion of our larger endowment, which can be used in a COVID emergency. It can be used in a similar type of emergency. And we've never had an endowment reserve fund before. We never had that many reserves that could be used in an emergency. We've kept some, but it's hard to build up reserves. Now with this endowment reserves fund, we've had a couple of wonderful matching contributions, including one anonymous and one this year from Vincent Argiro for $500,000. That has now been virtually all matched. So right now we're at $3.11 million for our $3.25 million goal. That will become, that's fantastic for the university, not just to generate income, which is very welcome, but in a pinch, to have it there will secure the university together with the larger endowment forever. It's really good news, and it's been the development office has done a credible job with that. And then finally, the annual fund, year after year, God bless all of you. That is the fund that keeps us going. That is the fund that meets our operational requirements beyond tuition. No university survives on tuition. We are getting close to the ability to survive on tuition. That's marvelous. It's fantastic. But the annual fund has kept us alive year after year and allows us to do all of the incredible projects and initiatives and expansionary work and marketing that we need in order to thrive. So at the moment, at this point, just about getting to the 1st of June, we've raised about $1.54 million. Out of $2.25 million goal, we have about $710,000 to go. That's a fair amount to go, but typically in a year, it's in June that we raise most of our, not most, but much of our endowment, much of our annual fund money. So this $710,000 is achievable. It's probably the most important thing we do. We will achieve it. I'm sure we must achieve it, or I should again say, you will achieve it, because it's really not, I mean, I have a modest contribution to it, yes, but it's not me that's going to achieve this. It's you that will achieve this, and we thank you, unending for that. Finally, as you know, our Golden Jubilee, if you can believe it, our 50th anniversary is this year. And it culminates in a grand celebration over the Labor Day weekend. That's from September 2nd to 6th. The 6th is the Sunday, so it's really Thursday evening through Sunday. Monday, Memorial Day, is a holiday, so that'll be a comfortable day to travel home. And we'll have a nice brunch that day for people and a send-off on that day, and then probably heading home after that for many of you who don't live here. And it's going to be fantastic. It'll be a really gala celebration with fireworks, with celebrity entertainment. You can let your imagination run wild here. Tours of the campus's major renovations, a 50th University Art Exposition in the new Wegge Center, keynote address by Dr. Tony Nader, Raja Ram, extended cities program, long program for people who could just use some rest, alumni, games and events, cutting edge breakthroughs, amazing breakthroughs of knowledge that'll be presented in the different disciplines by our faculty, a big community picnic, and more. It is a great year for our Golden Jubilee because, as Marcy said to us all, it seems truer now than it seemed at the time. The future of the world is bright. Certainly the future of MIU is bright. And that was and is Maharshi's delight. So ending just by reminding, all of this is accomplished. This is essentially all done, except for the annual fund still has a bit to go, for which we rely on you. And I think at this point I'll end by saying, Jai Gurudev, indeed. It's a fantastic time for the university. It's glorious. You saw pictures. Those were not Photoshopped. The campus really looks that good. And we hope, we're planning on it, we're starting on it, that Keith Wallace Drive, the main thoroughfare of the campus, and also the new parking lot out front of the Wegge Center for the Arts will be done by then as well, and many other things, including these incredible improvements to the Wegge Center for the Arts, will be ready to greet you when hopefully many of you can come on Labor Day. So thank you very, very much firstly for joining us today. You've heard from some of the many, many jewels in the starry sky of MIU, presenting briefly today. And especially thank you for your unending support year after year for many, many years. And also, again, for all the legacy pledges we received. I haven't mentioned that today, but the future of MIU's endowment is great. That is our Gibraltar for all time. That'll ensure that Maharshi's revolution in education is forever, that it'll bless the world forever as the university expands and expands exponentially. It will touch everybody. In these coming years, it'll touch so many people all over the world, but we want it to be forever. So your gifts, your legacy pledges, you've received many written pledges. They are substantial. That is fantastic. There are others we're waiting to receive at some point, so please don't forget that. A legacy pledge is the sort of thing that you can put off forever. I wouldn't. I would move on that. And again, your support for the annual fund year after year, including this year. Thank you for joining us. And I was going to talk a little bit about knowledge, but I have two more talks coming up that'll be, I think, exciting in the world of knowledge. Knowledge of modern science, knowledge of Maharshi's Vedic science of consciousness. But today there was so much news, we forewent, if there's such a verb, the knowledge. And we just stuck with the news and achievements, which I think are unprecedented for the university, thanks to you. Jai Gurudev to all.